Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on Lorelink. Really happy to have Brian here with me. We're going to be talking about 20 Flights, which is a really cool looking diesel punk post-fantasy game. So, Brian, welcome. Thanks for being with me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell me a little bit about how you got started with 20 Flights.
So 20 Flights is sort of, I am a very Mark Rosewater sort of influenced designer. I spent a lot of time studying him. I teach game development professionally in high school. That is a real job. There's hundreds of us in the United States now. But I spent a lot of time really looking at sort of his approach, and I'm very focused on like emotional output. So like I want my players to have a very specific emotion, and I really started 20 Flights from I really want tension. I want something where you really get that really thick emotional moment. Usually involves some output randomness with some kind of dice roll or card draw or something. That's really where it started. And it didn't start as a bomber. I ran into the Wild Sea and really got hung up on this idea of a game where the players are primarily in a vehicle. And that's like the main kind of output, sort of the main mode of play. And Wild Sea like teased it. They messed with it a little bit. You know, a lot of other sort of vehicular games do a lot of single player stuff like Lancer. And then, you know, there's games like Orbital Blues kind of sidestepped it completely. But I really thought like there's some cool stuff there. And then I watched that movie Fury, that tank movie with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And like all the scenes in there, I'm like, okay, so there's something happening here. Like you have these people that have to do all these little functions. It reminded me a lot of FTL, the indie video game and FTL and Bomber Crew. And then I started going through all these different ideas. It kind of started life as a mech game, kind of Lancer-esque.
Oh, sure, that makes sense.
And you know, all the different crew members kind of had their own thing. And then I really got hung up on. I was randomly just like watching old movies. I do that a lot. And I watched Das Boot. And then I really got hung up on the submarine idea for a while. And I had this somewhere in my Google Drive. There is a pretty horrible mess of a prototype of 20 Flights of a submarine game. But I couldn't come up with enough cool things for the players to do moment to moment.
Got it.
So then I ended up on the Bomber. And the Bomber was like the most like promising idea. So, you know, I spit out a bunch of stuff in Google Docs, and I had my friends over, and I bribed them with tri-tip, which is my custom. You know, typically, if you're going to have a bad prototype game, you know, at least feed them, you know. And the moment that everything clicked together was the first time we rolled for Flack.
Okay.
And everything else in the game, you know, you can shoot at an enemy fighter. Like, you know, that makes sense. But that first time you roll the dice for Flack, and everyone just kind of holds their breath, I'm like, oh, snap, I found it. And that's really was the thing that really made me jump all the way in on the whole bomber idea.
Nice.
I kind of had the world of 20 Flights kind of always kind of sat on my giant Google Doc of like fantasy worlds I'd probably never make. And I was like, oh, this links up. I don't really want magic, but I kind of want the fantasy world thing. Like, I really liked that. So, and it kind of let me dovetail into some different types of stories you can tell with that.
For sure.
So it just sort of clicked, and I've been working on it since.
So I think it's super cool. I think we need to back up for a minute and let everybody on the stream know kind of what 20 Flights is. So
that'd be good, wouldn't it?
In the description, you call it a post-fantasy diesel punk, and post-fantasy, like there's gnomes and elves and dwarves in this world, and it's basically magic is gone, the gods are gone, they've been abandoned, and now they're left to their own devices to create technology. Is that a good summary?
Yeah. So the way I've sort of explained it to people is their understanding of what caused magic to go away is like our understanding of like the Bronze Age collapse.
Okay, yeah.
Like, we know that, like, these empires fell apart, roughly. Like, we have historical records, and we can sort of prove, these things were there, but no one's entirely certain. Like, no one can point at, like, the cause. Everyone kind of has competing theories, but it
Yeah,
happened so long ago that it's not super relevant to them anymore.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's kind of where the post-fantasy kind of thing is like the fantasy world was there. Like, this was your classic, like, fantasy swords and sorcery setting where something happened and now magic's gone.
I'm gonna quickly share my screen on stream here because I have an image up that showcases kind of the high level what 20 Flights is. It talks about, it's got all the, it's that one page with all the different things.
Yeah.
So you've got all the planes out here, right? And so this is the premise is that you're in a bomber for most of the game, and you're fulfilling a role, a pilot or bombardier or a navigator or whatever. So tell us a little bit about that airplane piece that you touched on a minute ago.
So the bomber is sort of loosely based on the B-25, which is sort of a bomber that, you know, it's not like the bigger like B-17, but it's sort of a twin engine bomber. It was used in Asia in World War II. It was used in Europe in World War II. Really, it's sort of everyone's health pool, mechanically speaking. Like, it's everything in combat you're doing. It's a series of systems, electric, hydraulic, oxygen. It's all the crew positions, so your pilot, your bombardier, your gunner, your navigator, and all the players are sort of doing all the little things that allow the plane to do its thing. You do that sort of in turns, mostly using skill checks, and it's sort of secretly, not secretly, a very high lethality game. Like, there's not magic, and bullets hurt.
Yeah.
In testing, we've sort of found that death comes really suddenly when there's bullets involved.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I'll take that off now. So you've got this high lethality kind of situation. You're spending your time in the bomber. Everybody's taking their turns doing the different role. I mean, you've got your primary role, but everybody has the ability to kind of fill in if necessary. What is there a fixed premise in this world? Is there like one specific war that's going on and you're setting the background, or is that kind of up to the GM to put together as part of the adventure planning?
So I'm fleshing that out right now. Is sort of my main dev is what does a campaign look like in this kind of game? And I spend a lot of time doing research on this stuff. There's so many old like interviews of like bomber pilots, bombardiers, gunners, just talking about their experiences, and so much of it informs that. And one of the big things I keep getting back from them is like, they didn't really think about the big war. Like, the meta of, the aerial campaign wasn't something your rank and file airmen were dealing with. They were just trying to get their things done so they didn't have to fly anymore. So I'm really trying to find this middle ground of, I want the game master to have the tools in the world if they really want to go heavy on that. But I really think the game, as we've tested it so far, is really about the individual crewmen and sort of their experiences. Like, I don't really plan on like writing a grand campaign where this one crew somehow ends the war. Really, they're just trying to get through it.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, so tell us about the core mechanic. I was not familiar with the Barge system before, so it was kind of an interesting read-through.
So Barge is my fantasy heartbreaker that I made 2 years ago now.
Nice.
It's very highly influenced by the works of Terry Kavanagh. He's an indie game developer, specifically his game Dicey Dungeon. I played that a lot of years ago and was like, oh, this is brilliant. Why hasn't anyone tried this in tabletop? So I basically just started tweaking with that over time, and it uses sort of a step dice based system. So I took that, I already have it, and I sort of adapted it to meet my needs for 20 flights. I wanted something that resolved a lot faster. I wanted something that was really easy to explain to people because it's a big table. I don't want a really long resolution system. So basically every skill in the game has a dice value to it. Basically the more skilled you are, the more dice you roll. And when you roll them, if any of them hit 4, you succeed. Just period. Like, you can just really quickly roll your dice, look at it and go, oh, I succeed or I fail. It's binary. Some skills give you more benefits for succeeding more, like when you fire an enemy fighter, the more successes you had or hits against that fighter. But it's really meant to be a very quick sort of system. You can just roll your dice, do your resolution, and go. It's something I really value.
Yeah, for sure. And so what I thought was interesting is that the success is always a 4.
Yeah.
And as you level up, you don't just change from rolling d4s to rolling d6s to rolling d8s. You're adding those dice.
Yeah.
So if you're at a d8 proficiency, you're rolling a d4, a d6, and a d8, and you need a 4 on one of them to be successful.
So I went through a lot of iteration on this, and this is sort of some background into my testing group. My testing group has a lot of graduate degrees at it.
Nice.
Like, we have a lot of actual scientists. So if you play a game where the math is really easy for them, they can calculate the percentages really, really quickly. And the first time I did step dice like this, they got confused. So I stuck with it. I was like, sweet, you can't quickly do the calculations on this like you can in every other game we played.
Right.
So I loved that little layer of obfuscation that the step dice kind of gave me on accident.
Right. All right.
Huh. And it also, especially, like, one of my early goals with Barge was I really wanted to use all the dice in a standard RPG set a lot more.
Right.
We came from playing 5e, and I played some other games, Pathfinder, where, like, certain dice just get used a lot. And I think really trying to use the whole suite of dice gives me a lot of flexibility, especially when I do things like dice tables, where you can really kind of hide things by using different types of dice.
Yeah, for sure. So I think if I'm not doing my math wrong, if you're at a D8 proficiency, you have an 86% chance of having at least one success.
Yes.
But it's not super obvious how that works, and that's just one success. So, like, for the things that scale up, obviously more is better. It's a super creative way, and it's I like the fact that you're going to roll that, you're going to know immediately if you have a success or not. So the resolution will be quick.
And on the GM side, like, using that multi-dice does some really interesting things, like the crash landing. When we started testing crash landings, we started having fun with that. So crash landings, because I'm using different types of dice, I can use one table for everything. So I can have all my really bad stuff tied behind, oh, you just roll a d4 and hope for the best.
Right.
If things go better, you can add dice to it, and it kind of lets me fudge it around without having to really have, like, 3 pages of tables to do something.
Totally. And so you also have the drop mechanic. So the drop mechanic you apply after the roll, right? So
yes,
you're going to drop the highest value you rolled. Yeah,
this is straight up crib from Wild Sea. The first time I saw it, I was like, that's genius. Like, it solved a huge problem I had, because I didn't have, like, a good, clean way of doing advantage and disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a big fan of numerical bonuses.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't like any additional calculations happening. Again, I really value resolution speed.
Yep.
So doing that drop system was just a really quick, like, oh, you rolled your 3 or 4 dice or whatever, take the highest one, throw it out, and now resolve it.
For sure. And it makes the game just a little bit more accessible, in my opinion, as well, because not having to do math at the table.
Yeah.
There's people that really... I've known people that are hesitant to play tabletop role-playing games specifically because of doing math at the table.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have, like I said, someone at my table is a literal environmental scientist for the U.S. government and is perfectly comfortable doing calculus. They're not trying to do that when we're playing playing tabletop role-playing games. Like, no, I'm
no.
not trying to do math right now. That's actually what sort of started me on my journey developing TTRPGs. Was that specific player had a Gloomstalker Ranger in 5e, and if you've never seen one at the table in action, every attack took 3 minutes of math.
Yeah,
every single one at a certain point. It's just like, no, this is terrible. Why are we doing this? That experience really colored a lot of my design philosophy.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, one of the things you touched on is the crash landing concept, but it really leads me to one of the concepts you have in here is the transit tables, right? And
yes, these are very much in progress. I'm actually looking at replacing them pretty soon in the next update.
Okay. Are you going to replace the concept of transit? Because it's...
So, right now, I like the idea of escalating threat throughout the course of a mission. I just think right now a lot of it is sort of GM fiat.
Okay.
Where, like, you're making the decision, because, I'm running most of these right now. We're getting ready to, like, transfer that responsibility around my testing group a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I really want something a little more procedural there. And I'm trying to experiment with, like, a dice pool-based mechanic. I was actually working on it earlier this morning, but I'm still not quite there yet.
Okay.
Not quite there yet.
I am intrigued by the concept you have right now with the transit of you're kind of mapping on a hex grid the flight of the plane, and you have in here, based upon if you have both of your engines or only one of your engines, how quickly can you ascend or descend to the three different levels of elevation. Which I like the 3 levels of elevation because that gives you a really, it's simple, right? There's only 3 options here. You're going to fly in one of these zones, and you don't have to track how many meters of elevation or anything like that.
No. So I made a decision really early on that I really wanted to go heavy abstraction.
Yeah.
I've seen simulationist is probably an unfair tag. I've seen a couple games, not necessarily in this genre, but like trying a more simulationist approach, and it was just so much overhead. Like it was, even running it alone on a Google sheet was so much overhead. So I really, anytime I can abstract things away, I'm really trying to. I'm trying to abstract more. Like that right now, where it is, it's too much for me. I'm trying to figure out the best way to simplify it.
Right. So a typical mission, you're what? You're getting in the bomber. You're flying from your point of origin to your specific target. There's going to be escalating threat the whole way there, and then eventually you get to the point and you're trying to successfully drop your bombs. At that point, you're facing potentially fighter planes coming to get you. You're facing the Flack, which you had touched on early on, and you said that the Flack was really a game changer for you. What is it about that really changed?
So I wish I could remember the designer that I'm stealing this line from, because it was so brilliant. And I didn't even realize how brilliant it was the first time I heard it. But when you assign a stat block to something, like it's an invitation for your players to defeat it. Like, doesn't matter what it is in the meta narrative of your game. If something has a health point total, you're telling your players, hey, you can come kill this thing. And it sort of started when I was listening to a bunch of interviews from I believe it was a B-17 bombardier, talking about the first time he ever saw Flack, and the very specific line he gave was like, "You can't shoot at Flack. Like fighters, you can repel fighters. We got guns. We can let it fly, give them the whole 9 yards. But Flack, you can't fight it. It just is." So really, like, Flack is the much scarier thing, because really 20 players are assumed in 20 flights. The actual player characters are super competent. Like, these are the best of the best of the best, sir.
Yep.
The best gnomes that have ever stepped into a plane. And So most of the time, like, the dice math is rigged in such a way that you're going to be successful a large chunk of the time.
For sure.
Things you can engage. You can't engage Flack.
Mm-mm.
Flack doesn't care. It just explodes. It's by far the best, like, successful moment of tension in the design so far.
That's cool. And that puts you in a situation where there's kind of an in-game explanation for a threat that cannot be defeated. It can only be taken on. And then it puts you in a position also where if you were always successful and never took damage, there's entire rolls on that bomber that potentially would never get to do anything.
Yeah.
And it gives you the position to potentially be on the defensive as you're going through the course of that mission. You're at some point in time, you're kind of switching from we're the aggressor in the situation to we're the defender, and now we're just trying to get the heck out of here and not die. And
the real dangerous part of the missions isn't getting to the site. Mm-hmm. It's the time from you drop the bombs to you need to get back. That's really when things get real hairy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Most of the hard decisions and testing my players have had to make are in that moment where you have to decide, okay, or we missed the first bombing run, are we gonna do another bite of the apple? Because the big goal within the game isn't so much like your party is going to succeed on the campaign. Yep. It's your player character is going to, depending on their character, get their discharge if they're going the Yossarian route, or filling their quota so they can, end their service.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely that moment of decision.
Is there... So the very name of the game, 20 Flights, is based on the concept that each of these characters has to complete 20 missions to be able to get out and stop flying.
Yep.
Is that 20 successful missions? So if they make a pass...
20 successful missions.
There it is.
20 successful missions, yes.
Which is exactly why they might want to take another bite at that apple if they miss a run and do a second
run.
Flew
out there. You already flew out there.
You're already
risking your life.
Yep.
If you don't successfully do it, it's problematic.
Right.
And each of the characters, if you want to get into to that side of it, every character has sort of their specialization, their class.
Sure.
Bombardier, pilot, gunner, logistics officer, navigator, whatever. And then they also have this little tag that's really the thing that's driving them. And I call it their animus, the reason they volunteered. It's all volunteer.
Yep.
And I sort of mapped all of them to one of the 7 deadly sins. So nice. Adventure, clout, camaraderie, indolence, riches, technophilia, vengeance. So they have a reason that they are doing this horribly dangerous, borderline suicidal job. And that sort of informs how their characters develop.
Yeah.
One of my big inspiration games for this is another indie video game called Darkest Dungeon. Okay. Love Darkest Dungeon. And I loved the idea that, you're just going on these runs. Like, it's not even for the actual adventurers. It's for the player who's managing them. Mm-hmm. And so I'm spinning on that and saying, you're not even really, advancing your character in combat. Like, you don't go out and self-actualize in your bomber. It's all the stuff that happens in your downtime, the sort of personal goals you have for your individual characters based on those animuses.
Yeah. So how does the animus work into the way the game unfolds beyond a one-shot?
So basically what I'm envisioning, and I'm still building this part out, is every animus will come basically with a menu of goals that you will accomplish. And some will be easier, some will take longer. For example, your indolence, your person that just sort of volunteered because they're kind of lazy, is Yossarian. Their goal is to get kicked out. So all their goals are going to revolve around, they might not need 20 flights. If they can get a discharge, they might win before anyone even gets halfway there. So I really wanted to it was really important to me to have that one in there. Some of them have specific goals built around, you're just trying to make money.
Yep.
What could you do in this situation to make more money?
Right.
So really, just you'd have these sort of tracks that you'd fill up, and every time you filled up so many of them, still experimenting with the numbers on this, you'd level up and basically get a feat and add a skill point. So that's sort of your player progression.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, what happens if you do get shot down? What happens to the game at that point in time?
So, originally I had a whole like sub game of you either surviving or not surviving to get back to base. Really, what happens now is, hold on, let me pull it up real fast. So there's kind of two versions of it. Let's say your plane's too damaged, you decide to bail out. Where you bail out determines how the success number for a survival check. So like if you bail out over enemy territory, you got to hit a 4. If you get over neutral territory, you got to get a 3. Friendly territory, you got to get a 2. And I pretty much just simplified it into that one roll. If you pass that check, everything goes right. You get back. The other sort of version of that would be like a crash landing, where now your pilot has to make a skill check to determine how bad. And there's no good version of a crash landing, but how bad does it get between the plane just completely falling apart or everyone making checks to see how much personal damage they took.
Right. Yeah, there's a whole crash landing table. Do you mind if I share the PDF on stream real quick?
Totally,
Okay,
totally.
Cool. I will. I have the crash landing table up right now. So you've got the landing, the bomber, kind of the. And again, you're assumed to be successful in most situations, and here's some example of those. But then, if the trained pilot isn't the one that's landing, or if there's adverse conditions, now you've got to make a roll.
The only time we have had a non-pilot, because the pilot got killed, attempt to crash land, they did succeed. They successfully got it down. They got down with like 3 hit points left on, 3 armor left on the bomber, and everyone lived. Everyone besides the pilot.
Oh my goodness!
So it can work. One of my favorite moments of the table.
Oh goodness! If not successful, you roll a D4 on the crash landing table. Yeah, that gets real bad.
Yeah, so like I said, like I hide behind that multi-dice, so the D4, it's like all horrible things. Bomber's destroyed, maybe your bomber's upgraded, it's not anymore.
Right.
If crew members are wounded, things go really, really bad. Like,
how much armor does the bomber start with?
Right now, let me scroll down, I think. Right now it's 10.
Okay. Oh, goodness. So taking 8 armor off. Oof, boy.
Yeah, look. If you're crash landing, I'm assuming it's going to be bad in pretty much all situations.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Nice. So then you've got like your navigation, your repairing, how to work on the different systems, some of the different systems of the bomber. So have you worked on a plane before, on a bomber before?
No. So it turns out, luckily, there are so many manuals out there. All the art in the quick start is literally pulled from British, German, and American Air Force manuals.
Oh, interesting.
Like
okay.
So yeah, it's all public domain now.
Image. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all that stuff's literally taken straight off of them. The U.S. Army Air Corps went so hard with their graphic design. My dream version of this is just a 1-to-1 copy of the layout of like the B-25 operations manual. Like it's so good. That's a very long dream from now. But yeah, the whole art style of it, they went so good.
Nice. So that actually raises a question when I was reading through here. You've got a lot of placeholders for art. So what if anybody that's watching this wants to jump in and help out with the development of 20 Flights, what would be helpful? Like what would be great support you could receive?
So I have my Discord. I think the links should be in there. So I have my Discord. I have a little group of people I share stuff out to. I was just sharing off my new mission creation engine draft in there
Nice.
today. Um, and really just kind of reaching out there and on Blue Sky is probably the two main places I exist socially. So that's really where I'm kind of organizing those things. I am in the painstaking process of starting to do reference sheets because I want to do a few commissions soon and fill up some of these empty gaps in there. Uh, I'm not looking forward to doing it, if I'm honest. It's so much AI slop to dig through, man.
Yeah.
It's when I had to do
Yeah.
it for
Yeah.
Barge, it was it's painful.
Understandable.
Yep.
So you would like to find maybe some artists to work with for this?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Awesome.
The way I keep saying it is, and I keep explaining to my students, is AI makes art the same way Applebee's makes food. You know, it looks reasonably like what you asked for, but there's no like heart or soul or joy
Yeah.
for anyone involved. The person
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
it's not happy. The person consuming
Yeah.
it's probably not happy.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
yeah. You start
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
at the
me too,
details and you're
20.
like, that ain't right.
Mm-mm.
That ain't right.
No,
That's not
no, no,
right.
no, no, no. Totally. Yeah, I saw somebody post the other day that they saw AI slop in an art museum and cried a little bit.
Ugh,
Like that's
yeah.
not where I want to see this go. Like there's so many cool things we can do with technology. Let's not use it to replace the creative process that we have as creatives.
Yeah, I was watching this interview. I can't remember what game. I want to say it was the guys from the new game Dispatch
Yeah.
talking about it, and it was like the problem is, you know, the artists see it as a development tool, and everyone else sees it as an art tool.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's all
yeah.
in your application.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, I went to Taco Bell this week, and they have an in the drive-through they now have AI taking your order, and I
Hmm.
asked for a chicken burrito, and it's like 8 chicken burritos. Your order total is $70. No,
Sounds
not
about
what I
right. Yeah,
wanted.
sounds about right.
No thanks, I'll pass.
No, no, I'm good. I'm good.
So I'll share one other thing out here. We have the 20 flights website here. So Barge Games on itch.io, 20 flights, Broken Gnomes and Bombers. You've got name your price downloadable of the current state of the game, which is super cool, and
Yep.
your illustration here that really kind of outlines what's involved in the game. So definitely come out here, check it out. I see that 20's posted that there to the stream chat. So please do come out here and check it out. And obviously, pay something if you can. Definitely help Brian out with the
I
development of
literally
this.
everything in there is just going to the art fund. I have a couple $100 saved up now, so it's
Nice.
just going straight to the between that and drive through. I have it on both. If you
I
look
love it.
Barge Games on there, but
Fantastic.
everything going to there is just going straight to the art fund. So
Perfect. So right now, you said that you're mostly doing this as with your own group. Um,
yep.
so, but it's currently available so people can run it. And honestly, from what I was seeing, it's absolutely there's enough detail in here to play through it. I think there's a little bit of maybe work for the GM to build the setting of their choice into the system,
Yeah,
but
so it's got kind of a like a walkthrough adventure because
yeah.
one of the big sort of hurdles when you're doing this, like a very sort of novel system,
Mhm.
is I can't really assume anyone's comfortable running it.
Right,
Like
right.
full disclosure, I'm still getting comfortable running it, and I made it. So it's really a very handhold, step by step. This is what you do. Just kind of training wheels for the game master. It has like a really quick intro, kind of a quick walkthrough of how downtime works, and
Mhm.
another mission. I'm hoping in the next update to have something a little more like quick procedural, so you can kind of support looping play a little bit better.
Yeah. I did appreciate that the very first adventure starts with a training mission.
Yes, yes. Uh,
Well, and
Mostly
honestly,
because the first time I did it, if I did it a different way, there's a good chance they'd blow up. So keep the training wheels on for a little bit, you know.
yeah, totally. Well, and I appreciate the fact that you have the intro adventure because it's hard when you see something you're like, that's really cool. I want to do something. If there's not at least at first adventure to help kind of give you the outline for how things should work, it can be really hard to pick it up as a GM. So I think that's super helpful to have that.
I
Um,
took a lot of inspiration when I put together the ash can
mhm,
from the Orbital Blues quick start. Like
right.
the way they sort of out, like one, it's just gorgeous. Like I would kill to
Yeah,
be half that artistic. But just in terms of their usability, I thought they had like some really clever ideas. So I tried to really kind of pattern it after how they set theirs up.
right. Um, so you called it an ash can. Do you know the origin of the word ash can for this? Because
It was the
it was
old.
new to me.
So I bumped into the term on accident, sort of, but
Okay.
my understanding is it's the old like comics
Uh-huh.
that was basically like draft versions that were meant to just be destroyed, like literally
Yeah.
like burned in ashes. And then I can't remember what other game I saw do it, but I was like, that kind of fits the vibe of this anyway.
It totally
Like I just kind
does.
of started, so I just kind of started calling it that, and it made sense. So
Well, the
like
the
like
thing that's
like the barge, like barge isn't called an ash can; it's called a quick start.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
So I've seen a couple of the folks we've had on stream or trying to get scheduled for the stream. I've seen two use the word ashcan to refer to kind of the preview version of the game. And one of the things
mhm.
I thought was funny when you look up the definition of ashcan is one of the definitions is military slang for a depth charge, which is also kind
Oh,
of on point.
yeah, that works too. All right, noted, noted.
uh, yeah, that definitely amused me.
Yeah, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So, you've been working on this for how long did you say? A couple years? A
So
year?
I have a weird development cycle.
Mhm.
I'm a full time teacher.
Sure.
I'm also a football coach. So I
Oh,
don't touch
goodness.
anything game development from like August to like the second week of November. I do nothing. I don't look at I don't open my itch dashboard. I do nothing. So I have like a very finite development cycle for everything I do.
Yeah.
So this really started in earnest last January,
Okay.
where like it was just sort of me and my group messing with
Yeah.
stuff. And then I think I put the first thing out into the world last June. And then I've been
Right.
updating it since then. And I'm hoping by the end of the year to have a new update for the ash can, just cleaning up some stuff.
Nice. Nice, nice. So,
Yeah, my mental bandwidth just isn't strong enough to score points and develop a game. It doesn't work.
understandable. So I've got up on the screen the player cheat sheet. So one of the things that I love about what you've done here is right out of the gate, you've got the player cheat sheet, which shows the stations, a little description, the skills and their descriptions, the core mechanic. So you've got this one page as a player. Hey, you're new to this, obviously.
Yep.
Here's how things work. You've got the same thing for the game master here with some of the tables, and then you've got the combat sheet, and then finally the bomber page, which all the different systems. You can kind of track the status of the bomber and everything here. It's kind of like a character sheet for the bomber, effectively, right?
Yeah.
Um, I love that you
It's
have this
funny.
because it makes it so much easier to kind of visualize what you're tracking.
So today in my Discord, let me fire up Discord again real quick, see if I can find it. So one of the guys in my Discord, Ivan, has been testing the game as a solo play.
Okay. Oh,
He actually
interesting.
has so he has some really cool ideas.
Yeah.
He has like he plays the whole thing in like one big like game screen that sort of
Uh-huh.
combines all this. So I'm kind of looking at this like, huh, like he sort
Yeah.
of he sort of remixed the bomber page and the combat sheet and the cheat sheet onto like one
Nice.
sort of page.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of iteration to be done here because he had some really cool ideas.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's just
Yeah.
nice that someone's playing it. I mean,
Oh, yeah, for
so
sure.
always a good sign that it's hitting. It's resonating. I've gotten a lot of good feedback just resonation wise of how
Good.
people sort of like the idea, like the
Yeah.
concept.
It's
Just kind of figure out the best way to play it.
yeah, it's a creative system. Like I like the background and the system. Well, sorry, the setting for it. But I also
Yeah,
like the concept of the system, the fact that you're all in the vehicle, because most of the vehicle based games that I've played have been starships. It's all sci-fi,
yeah. And I
right?
experimented with that really briefly. Like I said, FTL's a pretty
Yeah,
big
of
uh,
course.
uh, inspiration for this. And I don't. The thing for I got off sci-fi really quick
Hmm.
because it was really hard for me to hand wave away all the types of stories I wanted to tell with it. Like
Right.
I want the really high lethality. Like
Yeah.
I want players to feel like they're in control, but I don't want them to feel like they can just like tech their way out of
Yeah.
everything. Like I'm just now to the point where like there's no record of anyone patching a hull on a bomber over the course of World War II, but like I'm starting to like, okay, maybe we can repair limited armor. Like I really want that attrition to be a thing, and it was hard to do in sci-fi. It was so difficult to do.
No, it
And
makes sense, and it's just a different vibe.
every designer kind of has to deal with ludonarrative dissonance at some level, but I didn't want to like just dive straight into like hand waving away entire aspects of reality right away. So like, I'm gonna break
That's
reality
fair.
anyway. Let's try to be a little polite about it.
Nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what's next for you? You're gonna keep working on kind of the next, like continuing to take the feedback from the gameplay and tidying it up, or like what's
So
kind of
right
your goal?
now, I have a couple systems I need to finish up
Hmm.
on 20 flights.
Okay.
I really need to finish out the playbooks for the characters. I need to figure out all the campaign mechanics, and then really my big goal is to get it something pretty close to presentable into the world sometime in March. I'd love to do it before I leave to go to GDC at the beginning of
Yeah,
March.
that makes sense.
Uh, and really, I'd love to have this thing out the door, like done, really June or July. Have it. And I don't know what that looks like yet. If it's just something that I put out on Drive Through or Itch and kind of bootstrap it, or if I crowdfund it. I don't really know what that
Yeah.
looks like yet. I don't really have the biggest aspirations art wise. Like I don't think I need a $10,000 art budget, but
Yeah,
there's a
that's
couple
fair.
pieces I would love to. Right now, the game has a lot of like the World War II flavor dripping off of
Sure.
it because of all the the art from the
Which
manuals.
makes sense.
I'd love
Yeah,
to
of
get a
course.
little more of the fantasy post fantasy diesel punk flavor mixed on.
Yeah,
It's going to be a challenge finding the artist for that. I have a old student of mine was a concept artist for Sony for a while, and he's sort of taken on my art advisory role of like, hey,
nice.
I need a unicorn. Who you know? Because I love like that line art style. I
Mhm.
love like that World War II propaganda poster style. So finding the right mix of
You,
someone that can do
you
that and do fantasy is challenging.
yeah, using that art style with a very fantasy topic could be just so much fun. Give a really good
Yeah,
vibe to
like
it.
that's just it. I like the novelty of it. Like
Uh-huh.
that's kind of what's kept me running at it.
Yeah,
And
for
then
sure.
really once 20 flights is done and it's out in the world, I'm not really sure. I'll probably I have, every designer has their giant list
Of
of crap
course.
they'd like to make. Uh, I kind of have a fantasy-ish thing that I've had kicking in the back of my head forever. I might finally take a bite at that. Because honestly, like making 20 flights has really taught me a lot as a designer.
Can
Like
imagine.
like Barge would look very different if I made it today. If I made 20 flights first,
Right.
Barge would look completely different. So there's a
That's
lot of
fair.
tech that I've sort of developed in making 20 flights work the way it does that I'd love to port over.
Yeah.
Like the way player damage works. Like I love it. Like it's so much cleaner, so much faster than how it works in Barge. Like I don't know how that works in a fantasy setting, but I'd love to try. So
Right. Sure.
yeah, that's
That's awesome.
probably where I'll end up once 20 flights is done.
Maybe a refresh barge, try test some things out, and
Well, Barge was kind of always meant to be like an underlying system that you paint over. So
got
it's
it.
not difficult for me to
Yeah.
figure out that part. That one's more the crazy world building side than anything. So
Nice. So, what are your favorite like types of games to play? Uh, I'm kind of curious how you like what were you doing in your gaming life that you're like, gee, I need to put gnomes and bombers.
so in terms of like so I play so many like indie video games. It's sort of the
Okay.
space
Yeah.
I sort of grew up on.
Yeah.
In terms of tabletop, like I was brought in like full disclosure, I was brought in by the Mats, Colville and Mercer. Like
Nice.
I managed to teach game development for years without actually playing a lot of
Oh, that's
TTRPGs.
amazing. Okay.
So I sort of dove in all the way. I played a lot of 5e, like everyone, like
Uh-huh.
Colville Mercer. That's who I got dragged in by. But I
Yep.
really quickly started finding Orbital Blues, Die RPG, the trippiest
Yep.
damn game ever. And really,
I
like
haven't played that one.
a Die RPG is a trip. They have like the
Nice.
coolest version of a cleric ever. I tried to rip it off and make a cooler version of it. It doesn't work. It's so good. But uh, Last Train to Bremen,
hmm
Wild Sea, like I'm really
Yeah, Waltz is cool.
trying to find like really novel sort of settings, really novel sort of
Totally.
systems. Really just trying to just breathe in everything because, like I said, I came into it so late.
Yeah.
Like the most valuable book on my bookshelf is Monsters, Aliens, and Holes in the Ground by Stu Horvath.
Nice.
I basically took that book just as a reading list. And that's
Yeah,
how you discover stuff. That's how I discover stuff like Delta Green and all
for
that kind
sure.
of stuff.
Yeah, so that was always a big part of why we got into Lorelink the way we did. It became a goal of, hey, there's all this technology out there for D&D. There's a few things for Pathfinder, and as soon as you're
Yeah.
like 4 steps down in popularity, there's like nothing.
There's nothing.
There's no
Yeah,
tools,
there's
there's
nothing.
nothing. I mean, there's just no and so much of the community from the streams and the podcasts and the media around it to the tech that's around it, there's so little building up the smaller indie games. And some of the niche games are so cool. They're so much fun. And our goal when we kicked this off, I don't even know, 3 years ago now, was to how do we build a tool and start building a community around this whole part of the industry that's kind of being, we felt, neglected a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
The
and
scariest thing in tech is let's build a sandbox.
oh
like,
goodness. Oh
like
yeah,
it's terrifying.
absolutely. And every time we touch a new system, it's like there's new ideas that jump in, right? It's like, well, how do we make this work well? And how do we make this work well?
Mm.
Because we want to be system agnostic, we want it to work. And sometimes it's just creatively applying the generic structures we've created. And sometimes it's like, let's go back to the drawing board and think about a new way to do this.
Mm,
There's things about Lower Link that work great for solo play. So we've found that journaling RPGs work incredibly well. Um,
mm.
but you were talking about somebody solo playing uh, solo playing 20 flights. And that's really cool. And it would be amazing if we had an easy way to, a little bit easier way to track some of that because we have the ability to set up templates and you can create custom properties and track those. And so you can create a tracking mechanism today for doing the solo play because one of the things that's hard for solo play, just the same as it is when you're a game master, especially when you have a lot of things to track, is how do I track everything? And pen and paper always works fine
Yeah,
to a point. Um, my problem is that when I do anything on pen and paper, I lose it.
yeah, instantly. It's just gone.
uh, right? So it's like where was that before? And I like to kind of track a history of things over time in one place. So reading through the rule book and especially hearing that maybe people are interested in solo play, it's like, how do I help support that type of activity? And how do you take something that's fast and action packed like this and add value at the table um, for somebody doing the planning for this? How do I help make the action move as quickly as possible with the tech tool? So those are the types of things that I'm always rattling around in my head.
I think for games like 20 Flights, and maybe like another example would be like Slug Blaster,
Mhm.
would be something where it's like something that helps you track what the player's goals are. Like something where you have some sort of structure or template where you can keep track of like, oh, I'm trying to go down this track.
Yes,
These are the things I have to do. I think that's where the real meat is in, like I said, it's where the real meat is in
absolutely.
20 Flights to me.
Yeah,
And I think that's something where most VTTs aren't built to do that.
yep, I agree.
Like VTTs are very much about like, oh, here's the dice rolling, and they don't really go farther than that.
Yeah. So VTTs are dice rolling and map management,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's really telling when you look at data management standards for VTTs and realize that the only sort of agreed upon standard for data is related to maps.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I agree, it's totally about the players. So when we first kicked off Lorelink, we're like, this is a tool for GMs. And what is the first thing that happened when it hit the hands of game masters everywhere? They're like, great, I want to put all this data in and then share it with my players.
Yep.
So
Instantly.
now we have players, and because that you're
Yeah.
right, that is one of the things that's really important for a digital tool to do well, especially if somebody's going to spend the time putting the effort into setting up the data and communicating the data in one place. You want to be able to pull in the players. You want to be able to have to choose what do I share with the players, what do I not share with the players. You want the
Hmm.
players to be able to leave their own notes, leave their own comments, to and interact with the material that you're putting together in a collaborative way. And that's so important because when you're at the table, it's all about the collaboration and the interaction. So anything that you can do to take some of that interaction, like downtime, I don't know how it's going to work long term in 20 flights. In a lot of systems, downtime is time consuming. It's not necessarily something players do at the table. Sometimes they do it via email and then you come
Yeah.
back and you do the next set of the adventure and
Hmm.
having a way to do that well seems to make sense. But
Definitely. Definitely.
so is downtime in 20 flights, that's really, are you thinking that that's really what you're driving this story forward, right?
Yeah. And I have a whole laundry list of things I want to experiment and iterate with, but
Mhm.
like that's
Yeah,
really where your characters are advancing their own sort of agendas and their
sure.
personalities. It's where they sort of tell their stories is really in those moments between
Yeah.
the missions. Uh, I kind of have a number of like scenarios I want to kind of write out and experiment with, and really just see from a game management perspective how much you really need. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
every game master in every system at some point has been like, "Hey guys, you're at a bar. Go figure it out." Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough. Or maybe, I have a million. The great thing about this topic is there's a million pieces of aspirational media out there.
Yes.
Maybe there's some sort of cool scenario they can be a little more guided through and a little more structured.
Right. Right.
I really looked at Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast as sort of
Okay.
a template, a sort of a template idea of like, oh, you can have something a little more concrete that they play around with.
Yeah, absolutely. And having anything that provides some framework to helping decide what is a reasonable kind of scoping down what
Hmm.
you have to work with that downtime. It's like where are we? What is this situation like? Am I on a base I'm
Yeah,
stuck on the military base, or maybe, whatever that looks like, any context that you have like that, I think makes it easier to role play it.
yeah,
Some
and
structure.
and and especially like with my group, like I have a very wide gamut of like, here's borderline theater kid that's perfectly happy to just go for the next 4 hours in the scene, and then I have hard dice war person who's like, I just want to blow things up.
Yep.
So trying to find the right sort of balancing points for all those players is always a fun challenge for me.
Hmm. Totally. Awesome. Um, well, this has been fantastic. I'm I read through the entire manual over the weekend. Was really happy to read it. I think it'd be a
Sorry
lot of
for all the
fun to.
typos. I tried.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good.
Not an English major.
Um, um, so I think this is fantastic, and I definitely wish you the best for it. What is something that you would like to, any final words or big takeaways you would like to leave to people watching us today?
Really, we're in. I honestly think we're in kind of a golden age right now of sort of indie RPG development.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the market's going to be great to all of us, but there are so many like cool ideas sort of happening right now. Uh, Things that I would never have even considered an RPG before
Right.
that are really just sort of pushing boundaries and experimenting. Don't be afraid to just go try weird games out. Uh, I've been saying that's sort of my sign off to my students whenever we have a big break is, go play something
Totally.
weird. And this is
Absolutely.
like the best time maybe ever to go out and play something weird. Um, there's so much cool stuff being pushed against the edges of what we can do at a table with dice that it seems almost crazy to just try to just play one game right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go play something weird.
As somebody who has run a number of multi-year campaigns, yeah, I sometimes get a little bit of FOMO because I'm like, I really want to be trying new, unique, creative stuff all the time. There's so many
Yeah,
fun things out there.
and that's how I ran everything. Because like, remember, I came in through Colville and Mercer, so in my
Yeah, of
head, oh, this
course.
is just how you play TTRPGs.
Yeah,
Every
yeah, yeah,
campaign
of
has
course.
200 sessions, and it lasts like 4 years. And I did that twice, but but no, like I'm
Doesn't
actually
have
I
to.
think 20 20 flights was more of an indictment on me. It was like, no, 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 you get 20.
That's it.
Stop doing it.
Uh, Max. And
Yeah,
maybe
like
less.
no, no, no. I need to do this faster so I can run my weird Slug Blaster 1930s hybrid. Like, like I need to be. I need space so I can run some more weird stuff.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Well, um, Brian, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for telling us about 20 flights, and I certainly hope uh, you get some folks trying it out. And who knows, maybe you'll find an artist here real soon.
Yeah, who knows?
Um, and as for myself and Lowerlink, we're going to continue looking for the new, unique, and creative things to play. As we play these games, we put them on the website. We take the videos. We write up about it. So there's a list of systems on our website, lorelink.com, of some of the stuff we've tried out up to this point. We'll keep trying stuff because honestly, it's a lot of fun to do it, and hopefully get more people sent your way.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for having me.
Well, thanks. Have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate it. Please do go check out Barge Games and check out 20 Flights. All right. Have a good night,
Blow up your
everyone.
friends.
Blow up your friends.
Blow up your friends. It'll be great.